good, everybody? I'm going to jump right in, continuing the series on contract for deeds, documents and disclosures. Last week, I went over the first 3 forms that we use in our contract for deed package. And this week, I'm going to go into the next 3 and do a little bit deeper dive into, those forms and a little bit how we operate. As you know, my name's Luther. I do real estate here in Kansas City. Sales, investments, and lending is what we're all about. A lot of my clients are investors. I'm an investor. That's kind of been my lane for over the last decade. And part of my specialty, one of my specialties, I guess you could say, is seller financing. So digging a little bit deeper into how that looks with the creative financing and so forth. So our main way of doing seller finance transactions has been the contract for deed up to this point. Will that change in the future? Maybe so. It just kind of depends on how things play out. So check out past videos. You can get on YouTube, Luther Wilson III, and see other videos about seller financing, real estate investing, real estate funding, and the like. So tap in with me there. Okay, so I want to talk about the next 3 forms that we use. Number 4 is the lead-based paint disclosure addendum. Number 5 is the Affidavit of Equitable Interest. And number 6 is the quit claim deed. Okay, those are the next 3 forms that we use in our package when we do seller finance contract for deed transactions, and you can use them. You could use similar types of things for different transactions that you do. So keep this in mind, but definitely consult with your advisors. You could definitely refer to my past videos, but talk with an advisor, a mentor, a guide, an attorney, a CPA, financial planner, whoever you think you need to talk to about doing these. They definitely need to be structured and handled appropriately, okay? So that's a bit of a disclaimer there, all right? And I am none of those, okay? Just to be clear. All right, so I got a little help from ChatGPT, OpenAI for the lead-based paint disclosure form. Let's see, I got a sample set again here. So the lead-based paint disclosure addendum is for properties that were built prior to 1978, okay? So it's for sellers and buyers, and it's the same for landlords and tenants, okay? So this disclosure is important if you're going to be doing a lease or a resale, okay? And if the property was built and painted prior, to 1978, then you're going to need this disclosure in there. And the purpose of it, courtesy of ChatGPT, all right, to ensure that buyers and tenants are fully aware of any lead-based paint hazards before moving forward with the purchase or lease, okay? This was put together to promote safety and compliance with the Residential Lead-Based Paint Hazard Reduction Act of 1992. So I'm guessing that's when it gained some relevance there, okay? And by the way, the tenant or the buyer, okay, has an opportunity, if they so choose, to have a lead-based paint test done. However that looks, I've never had one done. Odds are good that if your property has been painted at some point within the last 30, 40 years, you're probably okay, but you still gotta have these disclosures. All right, so look that part up. The next form, Affidavit of Equitable Interest. This is a key part that my father added to the disclosures and documents years ago. All right, it wasn't always the case that we use these for contract for deeds, but for a long time we have. And to me, it's another reason why we've had such a good success rate, such positive feedback, because again, depending on the type of seller finance transaction that you're doing, the title transfer is a thing. Ownership interest is definitely a thing. So look into that, all right? Again, I'm just doing some brief overviews on how we roll to help, you get some ideas on how you might be able to transact this way, whether you're buying or selling on a note or some form of seller financing, all right? So our Affidavit of Equitable Interest states that we, such and such, as the buyers, of county of blank, state of blank, right? So depending on where the property is located, they, swear, that they're purchasing following described real estate, and then there's the legal description under there. Very key part, and this is a short document, it's not even a full page, but the key part on this one for ours states that this affidavit is given solely for the purpose of providing notification by these purchasers of said real property of their interest therein. So that's the interest in the property, and if they so choose, they can record this on the public records, right? So it'll show up as a cloud on title for this particular property, all right? So that's the affidavit of equitable interest. And again, depending on how you plan on doing these things, you got to figure out what works for you and your operation and what the market will bear, what's favorable to the residents, which at the end of the day is what it's all about. So again, this is part of the sauce, y'all. I'm giving y'all some amazing game right here. This is high level, advanced real estate strategy. Okay, this is, 20, 30, 40 plus years in the making, even beyond that, learning from people, my family learned it from people that were doing it years ago. So keep that in mind. And you gotta, again, based on where you're located, where you own property, how you're transacting, what your purpose is, what's favorable in those areas, you can kind of determine how you want to do this. But this is a key part as far as being able to set the buyers at ease. They're comfortable doing these transactions, again, because of how we structure these, which is what I'm giving y'all right now, and how we handle them. That's the key part that I've talked about in previous videos, and I'll probably end up digging in a little bit deeper on this series for seller finance, in particular contract for deeds. Stay tuned. I'll end up doing a video on how tips, strategies, and ways you can handle these, all right? So that's document number 5 is the Affidavit of Equitable Interest, okay? Document number 6 is the quit claim deed, not to be confused with quick claim, which these can happen rather quickly, but just FYI, quit claim, QUIT, is the quit claim deed. That's the 6th form in our package that we utilize, okay? And by the way, these all tie in together. I forgot to mention one thing on the Affidavit of Equitable Interest. That particular document is endorsed and notarized. It's signed and notarized by just the purchasers, okay? Just FYI. Same thing on the quitclaim deed. This document gets signed, notarized, endorsed by just the purchasers in this agreement, all right? That's another key part, because in the Affidavit of Equitable Interest, they're claiming that they do it. They, in that case, are the ones that are endorsing that, agreeing to that. The same thing goes for document number 6 here, the quitclaim deed. They then would be releasing their interest in that property, which again would need to get recorded on the public records in order for this to go into effect. And it kind of goes, basically, I can read some of it. The main part, the main sentence for this document is, this terminates any interest that we, such and such, may have in this property. Then it's signed, it's notarized, stamped by the notary. It can get recorded on the public records, and then it releases the interest that these residents or buyers had in the property, okay? So that is document number 6. Stay tuned on the next one. Maybe not the next video that I do, but at some point in the future, I'm definitely gonna do another session on contract for deeds, documents and disclosures, going through the next 3 documents, 7, 8, 9, that we use in our package, okay? And so going back to what I was saying before, why we've had such a good success rate or performance rate with these is because we do our best to create a win-win. We disclose our interests, we document what needs to be documented, and we communicate that with the would-be residents or would-be buyers before they, sign on the dotted line. And it's really, a beautiful thing. I don't want to hype it up too much, but some of y'all know my background, and I know a lot of investors. That's most of my clients and colleagues. There's things that we struggle with as landlords, as operators, as of course some of y'all are contractors. You do different things in the real estate space, but being able to, maybe not your whole portfolio, but a portion of your portfolio, a little bit more passive. This is what it's really all about: creating homeownership opportunities and relieving some pressure from these tired landlords and real estate investors out there. Not to say that it's going to be your one main thing now, but again, tap in with me if you want to know more about how we're making it happen. I'm again a pretty open book for the most part when it comes to the real estate thing. I don't give away all the goods, but I'm happy to talk shop with you and figure out how you might be able to put some type of creative transaction together. It doesn't necessarily have to be you selling the property on a contract for deed like we do, but I've been able to help investors, be able to purchase properties creatively as well. So again, it's Luther Wilson III. And if I didn't say it earlier, today's the 8th of January already, on Wednesday. All right, we got hit with a bit of a blizzard, depending on where you're from. If you're from Canada or North US, it's not a big deal to you, but for us in Kansas City, getting hit with ice and snow like we did a few days ago, people have been kind of cooped up and we're getting back out there. So wanted to, do another video. So I appreciate you tuning in. Again, it's Luther Wilson III, Upside Property Services, Kansas City Real Estate, all day long. All right, peace.